gets us to reflect on the 12 months of the work that we began in January. Those of you who have followed our work, we are now entering our 4th year. We're in our 4th year, actually entering the 5th year next year. And a lot has happened since January. When we began this exercise on 16th of March 2022, we set ourselves targets based on an assessment that we did on 13 sectors. In each of those sectors, we were looking for what value extraction we could make in grains, in coffee, in fruits and vegetables, in dairy, in beef, in tourism. If you take a look and remove the constraints, remove the gaps, you would now fulfill in 4.5 years, 5 years, X amount of money. And we gave ourselves a $6 billion target in those 5 years. When we began on that day, our exports just emerging out of COVID-19 lockdowns was at $4.5 billion. In this 2025, January to June, our exports between just those 6 months alone was about 5.3. Our total exports ending September, November, if I could just look it at November, we are hitting around $8 billion. And if you add services, you hit somewhere around 12 to $13 billion. The interventions were 4. We said we will go to markets with our eyes open, that we would conduct basic research on tastes and preferences. What do people eat? What do they drink from Uganda, and how do they eat it? How do they want it? And we took a proposition that once we know that in some key markets, then we could deploy trade representation. And when trade representation tells us the shape and nature of the market, it gets us orders. And when we have those orders, and they are significant over time, we set up trade locations or trade hubs. I came to this market, and when I arrived here, I think it was about March of 2022. I absolutely had no idea about the levels of coffee consumption. Even other products, they don't drink as much tea, but a lot of coffee and a lot of nuts, a lot of fruits and vegetables. We began this long journey on how you take a product from the farm, which is primary production, where prices are low, where certification is not always very good. We said, let's work very hard to see if you take a product from the farm level and then you process it and you add value, you deal with issues of packaging.
Can you imagine that there is a household in Serbia who will be drinking one of those bag of coffees in their home?
Uganda is moving away from exporting raw commodities to producing finished, value-added products.
Today marks a significant milestone in Uganda's journey towards economic diversification and global market integration, the commencement of our coffee exports to Serbia.
I thank the President for really trusting this model to put language around this work and to rally government to support value add, ready to drink, export Balkans market starting with Serbia.
I am promoting the Ugandan product exporting to Chinese market. What we want to do is searching some volume offtake in China for our agriculture products.
We are here looking at different products. Currently, we are working with Iced Espresso, and we are the exclusive importer of Iced Espresso. And additionally, we are working on macadamia nuts.
We're focused on connecting trade within Africa. And I think this comes on the premise of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement and how we truly optimize that for the shared prosperity that Africa really needs.
In the last 1 year, we've picked up $22.3 million worth of orders. Actually, orders were more than that, but we supplied those in the dairy sector, in the beef sector, the grain sector, in tourism, in fruits and vegetables, in flowers, banana flowers, and many, 22.3 in 1 year. This is coming on the back of last year, somewhere around $9.5–10 million of executed orders. We take a lot of orders, but the execution and the constraints we face in that execution is what limits that performance.
What we want to do for this itinerary, we want to promote the contract farming in the Gulu city here. We have a very good potential market in China for our Uganda agriculture products.
The second proposition we made was, if you have markets but you do not comply to what the market requires, the necessary standards and certifications, it is like they say in traditional English that you are winking at a lady in the dark, she won't see you. So I'm happy to report in this year that we moved slowly but surely. The law establishing the Food Safety Authority is coming to Cabinet in February of 2026. There is work on consultation with various parties involved, ministries, the private sector. The law should answer the fears of those institutions, embody the hopes and aspirations of the private sector that has really struggled to have a single spine on this, and it should express the intentions of our country in regard to regional trading and international markets. Slowly but surely we will get there. So that was the second proposition we made at the start. That now has yielded training at a granular level. We conducted training for various farmers in those sectors, out of which we got several deals at a very elemental farm level, at a cooperative level, and we've dealt with what is called global gap for some companies.
That what we are doing is a bit of kueleza empeke.
Yensonga bino bitukola bifaanagana ng'okuwa omuntu omulala empeke.
Katonda atuwadde obudde n'atuwa okutegeera naffe tukole eki tujje tubasomese.
Kati gwe njagala otandike n'ente eki eya kintu ente eyo ng'esobola kuweereza litaazi 20 olunaku.
How long does an onion like this take to grow? How many months?
It's supposed to take about 90 days, which is 3 months.
Ennaku mmeka? Muwulira bannange? Musooke muwulirize obugagga wano.
Akatale kakusaba omutindo, so kati tunoonya mutindo gw'ebirime byaffe.
When you send your produce by airplane to Dubai or to Europe, you pay the same whether the plane is half full or completely full.
Emwanyi bwe tumala ogisimba mu kinnya kiri ekya fruiti zaffe. Ekinnya okijjuza ettaka.
The third proposition we made when we began this was, how are you able as Uganda to compete when your infrastructure is not so good, when 98% of your cargo is on the roads, when you have airports and aerodromes not functioning at par globally, and you have one international airport, which is great to have, but it's not enough to take the east, the west, the north in equal measure to deal with services, for example, tourism, but also cargo that you can take out of the country. How do you deal with, even if you have airports, the cheapest form of transport is on water. Water is not just about strategy, it is just the way to compete. How much tonnage do you have on our 42,000 square kilometers of fresh water bodies that we have across the country? Very little. These issues inhibit our growth. I own myself a processing facility where we spend 1,400 shillings a kilowatt hour against 300 shillings that you need as industrial power to compete. That just makes it difficult to compete here, regional and international. So our approach to infrastructure has been negotiate, combine air, water, and land, and see what price you can give to exporters that they can rely on. That's how we've been able to lower the unit cost. Air, if you're flying to Nigeria, we negotiate cargo landing. So let me tell you my downside on this, is that you need to raise your own funding to build this infrastructure that speaks the needs of exporters. And the turnaround time to do that is not in my control. I wish it were. How much time it takes to make a road, how much time it takes to make a rail from one point to another. I am confident that given authority, we can raise cheaper funding and act quickly with less inhibitions, less red tape and bureaucracy that often focuses on consumption and less on how to support a business to sell in another market. So our proposition, you will see that we've helped a lot in energy projects. If I name one after the other, we'll not finish. Whether it is trying to do a solar plant in Bulambuli, where delays on land have taken us 2 years. Conflicts on land, people lying, cheating, wasting our time. Whether it is aerodromes, repairs like Kisoro or Entebbe, whether it is negotiating broadband infrastructure data with companies from Abu Dhabi, the president asked us to coordinate, whether it is supporting manufacturing and value addition for fruits and vegetables, for coffee. We, in our effort this year, are the largest exporter through our efforts of roasted coffee out of Uganda into the Balkans, and now we are aiming at opening our next location. I am excited. So infrastructure is where we have weaknesses. Turnaround time to support exporters. It's taken us 2 years just to get a tenancy agreement for 3 companies at the free zones in Entebbe, where we want to assemble coffee machines, aggregate fruits and vegetables, and get all these locations like Kapchorwa, that irrigation projects in Ngenge, in Kwen, to use those locations to get higher value products. It takes a lot of time. And my focus and our team next year is how do we raise own funding to do aggregation of these large orders we get so that we can give it infrastructure, water, power, landing strips if it's possible, roads, so that we can assure those we get orders from that we're ready with quality, we're ready with certification, we're ready with quantity, and we can project 5 to 10 years. The fourth proposition we made was, even when you get the market opened and it knows something about you, even when you fix the infrastructure weaknesses, the standards and compliance issues, you must lower the cost of money you give to exporters. I am happy to report that in the last 1 year, more than 15 companies across 7 different sectors, coffee top of them, grains next, fruits and vegetables next. And these companies are shipping to markets like Canada, markets like Detroit, markets like Serbia that we have opened. Very exciting.
To participants and fellow exporters, I stand here as a testimony for you and to acknowledge the benefits we have derived from UG Exim. We were given a limit of $27,000 US. We are able to get finance even before the shipment, the client pays us. So we are happy and satisfying as one of the beneficiaries of UG Exim.
So I would like to thank the partners on this journey, starting with His Excellency the President of Uganda, President Museveni, who at 81 thinks smarter than many people who are young, who has sort of underwritten the risk on ideas, because many people don't underwrite risks on ideas. They want to focus on what is already done, what is known. But he's supported our effort to keep moving, to keep pushing. We thank him very much. I'd like to thank our staff. There are no qualifications you get. There's no PhD in export strategy. But our more than 30-something young people who come from different areas of professions and country, they have gelled as a team. They are able to help companies. They are able to raise funding. They are able to negotiate infrastructure. This is growth. This is very good basis for now recruiting more, training more, and creating a Uganda Trade Center and a Uganda Trade House. I want to thank all the ministries involved in this undertaking to take an export. If you think of Civil Aviation Authority, I don't know how many times we've called, cajoled, quarreled, simply to make sure that we have a small trade location at Entebbe, or that the free zones kick off. If I tell you how many times we called out Ministry of Lands, things that don't involve us, but we have to figure out why there is no land title for a piece of property that we want companies to use. I thank people who have been open, who open their offices to us, or Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the ones that allow us to deal with ambassadors wherever we go on markets. If I think of Ministry of Agriculture, ministers, the Permanent Secretary, my brother and friend General Kasura, and all the support over the years, whether it's tea or whether it's a company on fertilizers for tea and coffee that we've struggled to get working, whether it is convening senior officials on the data platform for us to coordinate certification across government. I thank him and I thank the Ministry whether it's Ministry of Trade, my sister Deborah, the Permanent Secretary of that ministry, to make sure that the doors are open, whether it's Free Zones Authority, whether it's URA, that we reach out to URA almost every week on issues to do with taxation for exporting companies, bringing in equipment that we don't think should be taxed, and we negotiate. I thank all government institutions that have been involved in this. Finally, I want to thank the private sector. It's one thing to say we will do something, it's another to have people who follow the idea. If I name all the companies in the fresh fruits and vegetable sector, in dried nuts and dried fruits sector, in milk, in beef, in grains, the companies that work with us, like when we had this International Buyers Week, they all exhibited for a week. They opened their factories to our buyers. I can't thank you enough for looking at an idea and trusting that it works. There is a group I like in Kenya, the Wakamba people. They have a saying that Kiyoko kya muntu ni bara wa mukera. What it means is that whenever you gain knowledge, that's your morning. Whenever you wake up, whether it's 3 a.m. or 2 p.m., that's your morning, that's your dawn. 2026 is dawn for many of those who thought these interventions can't work. These interventions have produced real results at company level, at individual level, at sectoral level, and now we are asking to move beyond interventions, to create structure and authority to move certain things that are standing in the way. I ask you to work with us into 2026.